Ladies and gentlemen, when a special athlete passes away, you know that a lot of people are going to remember him with fondness. I'm going to remember this guy with fondness, not only because he was a great athlete, because he was probably the biggest cheater of all time, and he has the Hall of Fame accolades and top 50 all-time Major League Baseball to prove it. Of course, the bad news came across the pike December 1st that the great Gaylord Perry passed away. Now, I saw Gaylord play for Kansas City against the Blue Jays in Toronto in '83, and that fabulous summer when I saw George Brett and Vada Blue on that team play against a very up-and-coming Blue Jays side. Now, he was a right-handed pitcher for 8 different teams from '62 to '83. During his 22 campaigns, he's part of the 3,000 club with 314 wins, 3,534 strikeouts, and a 311 earned run average. And a weird thing, he only made the Hall of Fame 8 years later when he retired in '91. Now, he was well known for his spitballs and other alleged usages of speed for his pitches. Now, Perry, a 5-time All-Star, was first pitcher to win the Cy Young in both leagues. He won the AL version in '72 with Cleveland and the NL version with San Diego in '78. His Cy Young award announcement, just as he turned at the age of 40, made him the oldest to win the award, which stood as a record for 26 years. He is also distinguished, along with brother Jim Perry, for being part of the second wingness brother combination in baseball history, second only to the Negroes. While pitching for the Mariners in '82, he became the 15th member of the 300 Club. Now, despite Perry's notoriety for doctoring baseballs, which in fact vernacular is called spitballs, and perhaps even more for making batters think he was throwing them on a regular basis, he went so far as to title his '74 autobiography, Mean the Spitter. He was not ejected for legal practice until August 23rd, '82, in his 21st season in the league, when the association was cracking down. Now, born in Wilmington, North Carolina, he was named after a close friend of his father's who had died while having his teeth pulled. Now, Gaylord was the son of Evan and Ruby Perry, who were farmers. Now, Evan was a noted athlete, and Gaylord grew up with his older brother Jim and younger sister Carolyn in Williamstown, in a small area of farm life, a populated place located within the township of Griffiths. Now, Jim and Gaylord both began playing baseball with their father during their lunch break on the farm as youths, and later all three would play on the same local pro team. When he attended Williamston High School, he played football, basketball, and baseball. He was all-state as an offensive and defensive end as a sophomore and junior before giving up football. In basketball, Gaylord and Jim held Williamston to reach the state finals in Gaylord's freshman year. In his career at Williamston, he averaged more than 30 points and 20 rebounds per game, leading them to a 94-8 record. He would eventually turn down dozens of college basketball scholarship offers. Now, Perry was what you call a severely natural athlete. He could play any type of organized sport that was given to him. Now, initially a third baseman as a freshman, and Jim was a pitcher for Wilmington. However, near the end of Gaylord's freshman year, he began sharing pitching duties with Jim. In 1955, they won the Class A state tournament together as the Perry brothers drew back-to-back shutouts to sweep the best of 3. He had a 33-5 win-loss record in high school. Now, he eventually then attended Campbell University, where they both played college basketball. Now, baseball, Perry claims he was taught to spitball in '64 by pitcher Bob Shaw. Perry had a reputation throughout his career for doctoring baseballs and was inspected on the mound from umpires and monitored closely by opposing teams. And again, he was only ejected in 1982 in a game against the Red Sox and then got a 10-game suspension. The video of that is still up. It's quite interesting. It's like a comedy of errors. Now, Perry had reportedly approached the makers of Vaseline after endorsing the product, and it was allegedly rebuffed with a one-time postcard reading, "We sued babies' backsides, not baseballs." Former manager Gene Mauch famously quipped, "He should be in the Hall of Fame with a tube of KY jelly attached to his plaque." Now, Gene Tennis, who caught Perry when he played for the Padres, said, "I can remember a couple occasions when I couldn't throw the ball back to him because it was so greasy that it slipped out of my hands. I just walked out to the mound and flipped the ball back to him." Now, he used this reputation to psych out hitters as well. As he looked into his catcher for pitch selection, he would touch various parts of the head, such as eyebrows and the cap. In this manner, he may or may not have been applying a foreign substance to the ball on any particular pitch. Reggie Jackson was so upset after striking out against Perry one time that Jackson was ejected from the game. He returned from the dugout with a container of Gatorade, splashing Gatorade onto the field while yelling at the umpire that Perry should be allowed to use the Gatorade on the baseball. Now, the spitball was not his only method for upsetting batters. Sports Illustrated Joe Pesnowski wrote of Perry, "My favorite trick pitch of this was the old puffball, where he would load up rosin so that a puff of white smoke would release when he threw his pitches. This made illegal somewhere along the way because of Perry, of course, but it's so awesome. It's like the sort of thing one of the villains on the old Batman TV show would do." Now, he started playing semi-pro for the Alpine Cowboys in Alpine, Texas, and San Francisco signed him on June 3rd, 58 for $90,000 a year, which was a big contract at the time. He eventually moved up to Sisson, and after a brief call up to Major Leagues in 62, made his debut on April 14 against the Reds. He appeared in 13 games that year, but had a 3.23 ERA when sent back down to Tacoma for the remainder of the year. Now, after his brief call-up in 62, he joined the Giants in 63. The more worked mostly as a relief pitcher, but he ended up in the starting rotation, finishing with a 12-11 record. Now, in 2 seasons at a start, his 24-30 record attracted little national attention. However, his breakout season in 66 was tremendous, going 20-2 into August. Perry and his teammate Juan Marshall became known as the 1-2 punch to rival Kovacs-Drysdale combination of the Dodgers. While Marshall was NHL Player of the Month in May, he was so named in June. Now, very steady as he going, between 16 and 20 records. But on September 17th, 1968, 2 days after his 30th birthday, he hit the next level of his career as he no-hit the Cardinals and Bob Gibson, 1-0 at Kennelsville Park. The lone run came in the first inning home run by the light-hitting Ron Hunt, the second the only 2 he would hit that season. The very next day, the Cardinals returned the favor on the Giants with a 2-0 no-hitter by Ray Washburn, the first time in Major League history that back-to-back no-hitters have been pitched in the same day. Now, in 1969, he led the league in innings pitched, but the Giants finished second in the pennant race for the 5th straight year. He took over the Giants ace in 1970 and led the league both in wins 23 and innings pitched 328. Now, in 71, the Giants finally won their division, with Perry posting a 2.76 ERA in what would be his only 2 postseason appearances. Perry won 1 game and lost the other against the Pirates. Now, traded to the Indians for Sam McDowell for Frank Duffy. With Frank Duffy. In Cleveland, he went 24-16 in 72, winning his first Cy Young. Now, by 73, again, this is where the spitball came in. He was widely suspected. That season, Bobby Mercer of the Yankees publicly criticized Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner of baseball, and Joe Cronin, the president of the American League, for lacking the guts to enforce Rules 8.02, which banned the spitball. In response, Kuhn fined Mercer $250, equivalent to $1,600 in 2022. After losing a game to Perry, Billy Martin, the manager of the Tigers, told reporters that he instructed his pitchers to throw a spitball, leading to Cronin suspending Martin for 3 games. Publicly, Perry insisted that the pitch was a hard slider. Now, he wrote a book called Me and the Spitter, which he gave details of how he did it. And the co-writer was Bob Suchuk. Now, in this book, he shows Suchuk how to throw spitballs with substances like Vaseline KY jelly and a puffball using rosin dust. He also shows Suchuk how he hit additives on the uniform and body. The book, titled Me and the Spitter, was released in 74 to great acclaim. Now, before the 74 season, the MLB added to Rule 802, now nicknamed Gaylord's Rule, which allowed umpires to call an automatic ball if they suspected a spitball and inject a pitcher on a second offense. He was named the AL Player of the Month that year in June with a 6-0 record with a 1.00 average. Now, he was Indians staff ace until 75, but tensions between him and manager Frank Robinson over many factors led to Perry's trade to Texas in June 75. Now, Gaylord Perry is still Cleveland's last 20-game winner until Cliff Lee in 2008. Now, with the Rangers, it was a very one-sided deal. All he gave up was Jim Bibby, Jackie Brown, and Ricky Waits. Now, again, feuding with Indians player manager Fromson, but with the Rangers he would win nearly 80 more games career than the three combined. With the Rangers, he formed a 1-2 punch with Fergie Jenkins, with Perry earning 12 wins and Jenkins 11 during the remainder of 75. However, the Rangers, who had finished second in the AL West in 74, slipped to third that year. The next year, with Fergie going to Boston, he became the staff ace, going 15-10. Now, what was interesting about this, ladies and gentlemen, we never thought he would come back to the National League. However, before the 78 season, San Diego acquired Perry for Texas in exchange for middle reliever Dave Tomlin at $125,000. With the Padres, he wound up winning the Cy Young in 78, going 21-6. Now, Perry's 21 wins that year accounted for 25% of the club's victories all year long, and he again became the first pitcher to win the Cy Young in both leagues. Now, he won 12-11 in 1979 before he was eventually traded in 1980. Now, he went back to the Rangers. At the time, he also went to the Yankees for the pennant race, and at the time, it was probably the oldest I think starting rotation ever. They had Louis Tiant and Necro and Tommy John and Gaylord. It was, I think, 80. It was 164 in age or something like that. Quite interesting. Now, 83, 81, he found himself with the Braves, signing a one-year contract, going 8-9. Now, 82, he won these 300 game, the first since early win to do it in 63, and there he acquired the nickname the Ancient Mariner. The 300 win came out May 6, 82. Again, but again in August, the big throw out of the game for using the spitter. Now, after starting 83 season 3-10, he was designated for assignment, and the Royals picked him up on a waiver claim 10 years later, where I saw him in Toronto. Again, in August, he became the third pitcher in history to record 3,500 strikeouts. In the final months of the season, Perry experimented with a submarine delivery the first time in his career and took a no-hitter in the 8th inning against the first-place Orioles on August 19th. Now, in August 83, he became the third pitcher in the same year to surpass longtime strikeout king Walter Johnson's record of 3,509 strikeouts. Steve Carlton and Nolan Ryan were the others. Also in 83 was involved in the pine tar game against the Yankees. The game originally ended when the umpires called Brett out for too much pine tar in his bat, negating his home run and drawing a vehement protest from him and the Royals. Now, Perry absconded with Brett's bat and gave it to a bat boy so he could hide in the clubhouse, only to be caught by Joe Brinkman. When the Royals won the protest, Perry was retroactively ejected for doing this, and eventually retired on September 23rd, 83. Now, when he retired, he went back to Martin County, North Carolina, where he grew tobacco and peanuts. However, because of post-field costs, he had to file for bankruptcy in 1986. He also worked as Fiesta Foods as a sales manager, and later in the year, Limestone College in Gaffney, South Carolina, chose him to be the college for his baseball coach. Now, he was there for a couple of years until he retired, and eventually in 1998, he was inducted in the Limestone College Athletics Hall of Fame, class of 98, and later moved to Spruce Pine, North Carolina. A strong Republican, of course. Some people he thought he was going to run for president, but eventually campaigned for Jesse Helms and contemplated a bid for Congress himself in 1986. Now, according to Major League experts, he's considered a top 50 player of all time. In 98, the Sporting News ranked him 97th on their list of the 100 greatest baseball players of all time. Now, his number 36 has been retired, of course, and he was inducted in the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. Now, there's also the idea, there's many accolades through the years that have been given, including first ball, and there's also a plaque of him, a bronze statue of Perry, at the corner of 2nd and King Street outside A&T Park. Now, Bill James, an expert on baseball, lists Perry as having the 10th best career of any right-handed starting pitcher and the 50th greatest player at any position. Now, as it stands right now, like I said, the death of Perry, a lot of people had already thought he had passed away, and myself included. Now, Patrick Maresca, a follower of the channel, wanted me to do something. There's no way we can do a podcast on him that serve him justice. There's been a lot of good parts of his career. But for me, to know that someone Gaylord Perry can be a character, and he wasn't scared to throw what he called an illegal ball, because it ain't cheating if you get away with it, so he will be greatly missed. But it was so funny, another error as well. CBC originally in AP called him 88, it was actually 84. No way Gaylord Perry was 88, because he was only in his 40s when I saw him, and this was 1983, so not the 88 for sure. So one last joke on us all. So ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our Major League Baseball Vintage podcast, let us know with a like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for listening. Bye.